episode, the new James Gunn Superman Legacy, now just Superman suit has come out. So we're going to be taking a look at his new suit first, and then we'll take a look at some older Superman trailers, Superman Returns and Man of Steel.
The symbol's visually appealing to me.
This looks pretty clean. I like the details on it. You know,
I love the vibrancy of the colors.
Right here.
I really, really love this. This back view feels very Superman. And then even outside of the costume, his hair looks great.
Yep.
Fully black hair.
He looks like Superman for sure.
Plane catching scene is iconic. He catches it like in the middle of the baseball field.
Dude, I feel like that right there would have hyped us up. You know, like if we saw something like that for this new super.
What a hype part of the movie.
Welcome to Backseat Directing,
where we talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew
and Aaron.
We put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And today we're taking a look back at some old Superman trailers.
3, 2, 1, action. You always remember
totally messed up on that one.
You always remember that you're gonna do that at the second before you do it. I can see you not moving at all, and then I start to count, and you go,
"Oh,
1.
Shoot!" Yeah, no, that time I was definitely in a different world. There, I was distracted by Superman, and I did not get my hand on the clapper fast
You're
enough.
staring at David Corenswet's magnificent hair and pecs.
Dude, he looks good. He looks good. We have some cool stuff for this episode. The new James Gunn Superman Legacy, now just Superman suit has come out. We've seen more behind the scenes photos that all dropped today. So we're going to be taking a look at his new suit first, and then we'll take a look at some older Superman trailers, Superman Returns and Man of Steel, kind of see if the trailers hold up and what the differences are. Obviously, one's a little bit older and one's a little more modern. And then we're going to talk about what we hope to see out of the new trailer for this new Superman movie. So a lot of stuff we're talking about today. This episode's so cool.
All things Superman.
Boom.
I wonder why they did change the name from Legacy, because I liked Superman Legacy just fine. Maybe it wasn't testing well with mass audiences and people weren't liking it, but I like the idea of having a colon and a second descriptor for the name, because then 10 years from now, when I want to reference David Corenswet Superman, I can say Superman Legacy or just Legacy. Right. I don't have to say Superman 2024 or David Corenswet Superman. Like with Man of Steel, I can just say Man of Steel.
Right.
It's easier to differentiate.
I like that too. The thing that comes to mind of reasons why they would change is that maybe Superman Legacy, the movie, doesn't encompass just the Superman Legacy comic book story anymore. Maybe they've changed the story to where it doesn't represent that comic as much.
I feel like
that's what came to my mind first.
I feel like it doesn't have to at all, though, because I feel like there's other iterations of stories like The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, it's very loosely based on the Dark Knight Rises comic storyline, or I guess The Dark Knight Returns, but then they call it Rises versus... I feel like a lot of times they'll just use the name because it's fitting, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Legacy would have been the way to go, to keep it separate from all the other Supermans. Shall we take a look at this suit?
Yeah, let's put them on the screen for the people.
Here we go, everyone. We have Corenswet's Superman suit here. This right here of this picture was the first one that we got. This was the teaser that was dropped on James Gunn's Instagram page. We got Superman looking all chill and relaxed as the world behind him is exploding, being conquered by some force in the back.
He's doing the Metro Man move right now, when he's about to fire the ray at him and he's moving so fast that the world is frozen.
He's just chilling, man. But yeah, this was the first look that we got to see. What did you think of this when it dropped?
Well, I think the suit looks cool. I mean, I like the boots, I like the cuffs, and I like the collar. I like the way that the cape comes over his shoulders and connects. The symbol's visually appealing to me. One of the big critiques that I've heard, especially from our friend Zach, who loves comic accurate stuff, is that and I agree with, is that I wish it was brighter. I think a lot of that now, looking back, is the color grading of this photo. Because when you look at the actual suit in some of the newly released set photos, the suit itself is a lot more vibrant and brighter colored than this.
Which could also be misleading.
Because it could then be colored back to this.
Right, exactly.
But I think that ideally they'll be listening to people. I think a lot of people want a brighter suit, more vibrant, more, because they went more vibrant with Henry Cavill's later on.
This also exactly. But this one also looks like it's pretty beaten up and worn down.
It does look dirty, especially if you look closely at the symbol. It's very
and it's also at night as well. So like you said, it's just kind of the atmosphere of where this photo is being taken that, like in the daylight, during the day, maybe it is actually a lot brighter.
The other thing I thought,
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. The other thing I thought instantly looking at this photo, which I think a lot of people thought, is that it seems like it's a nod towards Brainiac, because you see giant pink, purple lasers in the sky with Superman's story, you think Brainiac. So I feel like that's what's going on in the background, but who knows?
I originally thought that this picture was a little anticlimactic. I feel like he looks almost too chill.
I think they were going for like ironic or subverting expectations, because you expect to see Superman flying super fast or just even in the air, chest bowed out, showing some imposing Superman kind of strength.
Yeah,
this is kind of contrary to
more
that.
Though.
It'd be more classic.
I get going different, and you want to
subvert expectation,
right? But I don't know. Like he's just sitting down, not doing anything. I do like the way that the suit looks here, though. It does look pretty cool, I think. Before we go on to these other two shots here that we can see, right here is the Man of Steel reveal. I believe this was the first image that we got to see of Henry Cavill's suit.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like maybe a nod towards the Zod fight at the end of the movie. A little Easter egg foreshadowing.
Yeah, definitely a lot more dark. The saturation is pulled from this image. I mean, his skin basically is black and white. You get to see a little bit of the red in his cape. Obviously, the blue is also desaturated quite a bit.
I will say I prefer the symbol on this suit, the S. I think looks better to me. The new one is not like bad. I still like it. I just prefer Henry Cavill's.
I feel like I could get on board with either. I just need to see it like in motion, in action.
Yeah.
Like even Corenswet's suit to begin with. Like I just need to see it in movement. In practical use. Like this looks pretty clean. I like the details on it.
I love the vibrancy of the colors
right here. Yeah, this is definitely a lot brighter than the original shot that we got to see.
I hope they don't suck all the color out of the suit.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of the trunks on the outside. I know it's very classic Superman.
I like it a lot,
but I don't know. I feel like it looks goofy.
I feel like it was kind of missing from the original Henry Cavill suit back in the day, and I feel like it's the trunks, the belt, the cuffs, the collar, it all feels very much like the Superman that I've seen reading modern comics. The Dick Grayson run that I've been reading has a lot of Superman and Superboy appearances, and this feels super true to those comics. The vibrancy of the colors, the red underpants, it feels a lot more like I'm watching a comic in motion, which I think that James Gunn can pull that off in this movie. I'm honestly more excited having seen these images. And Mr. Terrific, in the background of this image, what a sick reveal. I mean, it's so cool to see Mr. Terrific be in this movie. If you don't know, he's a comic book character who's like one of the smartest people in the world in the DC universe. He's literally the echelon of intelligence alongside Batman, Lex Luthor, and like not many other people can stand up there along with those people. He might be, he's arguably the smartest, I mean, and he engineers tech-based weapons. So he has the T-spheres, which are these really cool devices that he uses in his adventure. So it'll be cool to see a character that I've personally never seen on screen for DC characters. He's also just such a genius. So it'll be cool to see how they portray his intelligence, especially next to Superman, because in some iterations, Superman's really, really intelligent. I mean, he's supposed to have all the knowledge of Krypton, kind of poured into him.
A lot of people I've heard online complaining about all the wrinkles in his suit and how it's not like form-fitting enough.
I was worried about that. I hope they fix it in post, which is something I was saying to you off camera. Like if you look closely at his elbows, if you look like just below his pectorals, at his abdominal area, and then I think that's the main areas where you'll see like a lot of the scuffs and wrinkles in the suit. It's just from movement. It's from the fabric.
Yeah. I kind of like the wrinkles here in the elbow crease, but this right here is definitely pretty jarring, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd imagine that they're going to kind of smooth that out in post. I mean, whenever you see these superhero stuff, the costumes, even if they are mostly practical, they're still touching them up a little bit. Don't let anyone fool you, you know?
They didn't have to do it for Batman Begins or The Dark Knight because the fight scenes are so dark and so blurry and so fast.
Yeah.
You can't see the bends in the suit.
But yeah, there's hidden CGI all over movies and stuff. So I wouldn't be too surprised if they kind of tweak things a little bit, you know?
But this is really exciting news. I mean, it has me hyped to go back and watch these trailers.
Absolutely.
We're getting really cool stuff.
The shot from the back.
This is the
we
best
can
one.
see the symbol on the back of the cape, which was what a lot of people were hoping for. And we got it. It's there.
The yellow symbol on the back, again, I'm going to say it reminds me of the Superman in this Dick Grayson Nightwing run that I've been reading. It's some of the best superhero comics I've ever read, and they do such a good job with character design and the art style. I really, really love this. This back view feels very Superman. And then even outside of the costume, his hair looks great.
Yep.
Fully black hair.
He looks like Superman for sure.
He is a great look for Superman. He looks big, and facially, very like strong jaw. He's got the Superman pulling it off to a T.
Yeah.
This angle is my favorite photo. I just love the way the cape looks. The red is so rich. The yellow is beautiful. God. And the collar, even on the collar from the back of the neck, looks super cool. I think this, to me, is the most true looking Superman, like from this angle, is a great live action comic to screen representation.
Yeah, I agree. It looks really good. I still want to see it kind of in movement before I make like too much judgment on it. What was his name? Mr.
Terrific. It's on across his back shoulders says Terrific.
I feel like he looks kind of goofy.
I mean, his comic character design maybe is like a little campy, I guess you could say. But he looks just like he looks in the comics. Like, perfect.
Because what are you hoping? I guess we can get into it a little more later when we're talking about the trailer. But what are you hoping the tone for these movies are? Like, I kind of want to in between the Supermans that we've gotten, the ones that are a little more campy and the Man of Steel where it's very dark and serious. I kind of want to be like right in the middle of the road, and
I could accept literally the tone of the first Guardians. I mean, I think Superman is not, you'll never hear me say a bad word about Henry Cavill. He is my Superman. I love him as a person and as an actor. Congratulations, Henry Cavill, on announcing your baby. And he's my Superman. But for this, I'm hoping for something a little bit different, a little bit less serious. I think Superman has some levity to him. He's that person that people look at and they see hope. They don't see as much darkness. That's a complaint a lot of people have with the Superman, is that Henry Cavill Superman being more dark. I'm hoping for a little bit more levity with a really like hopeful, optimistic feel to the movie overall and to Superman specifically. Yeah. So I think it should be funny, it should be fun, but Superman should still seem intimidating and tough.
Yeah.
Like
I want it to be fun and have funny moments, but I don't want it to feel like super campy.
Yeah.
Especially if there's a bunch of superheroes in there, where they're all looking kind of goofy. Like,
I would be happy to give it a try, a more campy Superman movie. Like, if it feels more like the animated, they just did some great animated Superman movies in the last couple of years. And I did really like the one that they rebooted a new animated universe after the DCAU. And I can't remember what it's called, but the Superman movie where he fights Parasite is really good. And I could definitely accept a tone similar to that movie. It's more campy because it's animated, but I think that potentially they could pull it off. They do it well.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how it all goes.
We got to watch these trailers.
Yeah, you ready to get into Superman Returns? That'll be our first one that we're going to watch here. Let me switch the screen back over.
We're going to compare how Superman changed over these recent years. So Superman Returns in 2006 with Brandon Routh, and then we're going to see how Superman trailers evolved into 2013, 7 years later with Man of Steel and Henry Cavill. We did this once before if you want to see our Avengers episode. We watched the Avengers 2012 compared it with Avengers Infinity War. So go back and watch that episode.
You have great power.
See, that's a replication of the shot from the Superman the movie trailer from like whatever 78.
It looked good.
My life being who I am.
It looked good in both trailers, honestly.
Hark, hey, welcome back. I see you've already met the Munchkin.
Is that Rachel McAdams?
Well, you've been gone. Fearless reporter Lois Lane is a mommy. But if you ask me, she's still in love with you.
No, it's not. Okay. I was like, I did not remember her being in this. So she has a kid. If I remember correctly from this movie, it's his
The
kid,
rest of us. The world doesn't need a savior.
which would be John Kent.
Neither do I.
Because I think there's a scene in this movie where he uses super strength, like on a yacht or
A
something.
little reunion, isn't it? Heck,
Been a long time since I've seen it.
I'll have
advanced technology.
Thousands of years beyond what anyone could throw at me.
But millions of people will die.
Look at how that kid is just chilling under her lap while the villain explains his evil plan.
I hear people crying for one.
I mean, the music in this is definitely campy.
Come on, let me hear you say it just once.
You're insane.
No! No, the other thing.
Superman will never.
Wow, that looks cool. And,
Some of these shots look pretty cool.
I mean, that scene is pretty iconic. And the plane catching scene is actually pretty iconic. This movie, I feel like, is not... Like, it's not talked about as much, and it's kind of, like, looked down on. But that plane catching scene is iconic. He catches it, like, in the middle of the baseball field.
Dude, I feel like that right there would have hyped us up. You know, like if we saw something like
For the
that for
first
this
time.
new Superman movie,
Yeah.
like that'd be pretty sick,
The-
wouldn't it?
There's, like, multiple iconic parts in the movie itself, but the movie overall isn't, I feel like, treated as very forgettable.
Yeah.
The shot to the eye, everyone remembers that.
Yeah.
It's so cool the way the bullet flattens against his eye. It looks sick.
Yeah. What did you think of how the cast looked? Like, do you feel like they fit the roles of the characters that they were playing? Like, it seemed like they did to me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Brendan Routh is really good looking. He has the Superman facial features. I mean, after watching Henry Cavill, it's hard not to think he looks a little bit small as Superman. But Henry Cavill's just so huge.
I don't think he looks small. I think he's just not as lean and cut as Henry Cavill is. You know, they're probably similar size.
You think they're similar mass, really? The cut can make a lot of difference. Like,
pretty big guy.
I mean, he's tall. He's a tall guy.
I don't know. He looked pretty heavy to me too. Like he didn't look small. He just doesn't look as defined as Henry Cavill.
I mean, I feel like his chest and arms didn't look as big as Man of Steel Henry Cavill.
Yeah, maybe. What do you guys think? I guess we could look it up too, but let's watch this trailer first. So going into Man of Steel. Ready?
Yeah. I've seen this trailer many times, by the way. I already know this is a much better trailer. What do you think about the music in the first one? It's more of a like trumpety.
So
Dun-dun-dun.
you said it was kind of corny.
Campy, which
Campy,
isn't
yeah.
as negative a connotation.
Yeah, that's true. I thought it kind of fit the tone of the visuals that we were getting, and it kind of felt like the tone that you were
Hoping for Yeah.
for the new one.
Yeah, so I didn't really mean it as like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that is kind of the tone I'm hoping for, is like the more classic music. He's got the more classic suit and suit coloring.
Yeah.
That would be nice to feel. I mean, we've gotten so many of these superhero movies, Joker, the Dark Knight trilogy, Man of Steel, that take the DC characters and really highlight the dark side. Like, let's get more of the comic, optimistic, hopeful side of Superman out there. That's what I'm hoping for. Some change, you know?
Mm-hmm. And before we do that, let's watch the dark side of Superman.
Yes. Which, this is a movie that has continuously grown on me with time.
Man of Steel? You
Yeah.
didn't originally like it?
I mean, I liked it walking out of the theater as a 14-year-old, but like, it wasn't my favorite. But I've just liked it more and more.
The world's too big, Mom.
Then make it small. Focus on my voice. Pretend it's an island out in the ocean. Can you see it?
Definitely has more of like a movie feel, you know? Like,
Cinema.
yeah.
My son was in the bus.
That attached camera shot is really cool.
Did.
You have to keep this side of yourself a secret.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
This movie has Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe.
I have so many questions.
Amy Adams. It's really stacked.
There's a lot of dissolves to black right there.
You just have to decide what kind of man you want to grow up to be, Clark. Whoever that man is.
Using a lot of really cinematic close-ups, like the water crashing against the rocks when the bus parts the water. What a hype part of the movie.
What a hype part of the trailer, showing us this. Like, that's pretty epic.
Like, this music is very different, way more dramatic.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then casting Michael Shannon as Zod, like a dramatic actor as the villain. I mean, they did cast a dramatic actor as Lex Luthor in Superman Returns. It was Kevin Spacey. Playing a villain,
Father believed
just like in real life.
Found out who I really
Got him.
was. He'd reject me. He was convinced
Dude, that looks good.
that the world.
Him hitting the bank vault.
Yeah, like the physics in this movie are so believable.
I love the behind the scenes shots where he's getting dragged in the city street fight. It's so cool, the practical applications of the filming in that fight.
Yeah, that looked very cinematic for sure.
I mean, I think Henry Cavill looks like a phenomenal casting for Superman. My jaw was hitting the floor when this trailer came out in 2013. I like seeing bearded Superman. There's so many shots of bearded Superman. I was pumped.
Yeah, it was very cool. So what do you hope we kind of see from these two into this new movie?
Yeah, I think that the first two acts, I would want something more similar to the campy comic book vibes. And then I feel like a third act climax has to have some emotion to it. So maybe some more depth and drama. Build that in the first two while having some levity, and then put high stakes in the third act. Because I feel like movies lose a lot of their weight if the third act is like some joke. I mean, the ending of Justice League is so frustrating when Superman shows up and is undamaged by Steppenwolf. So I want to see stakes in this. I want to see Superman, crumbling under the weight.
He's got to earn the win.
Yeah, thinking he can't do it, thinking he can't save everybody, but he finds a way to save everybody. So I want that drama in the end, I feel like a scene I always point out time and time again is in Death of Superman, the animated movie from the DCAU. There's a part where he's fighting Doomsday, and the bridge crumbles and almost crushes a child, which is very dark. It's, the stakes are so high. A kid's going to get flattened by a bridge, but Superman catches it and he looks up at the kid. The kid's, shocked, thinking that surprised he lived. And Superman takes the kid's handheld little game system and holds it up to him, still with his other hand holding the bridge, and hands the kid back his game. And it's like, that is high stakes. It's dark, it's scary, but Superman still finds a way to make you laugh or put a smile on your face for that kid and the audience member. So it's like a perfect reversal of the way Superman can turn a situation on its head. I mean, it's such a great way for him to use his power, because the only limiting factor to him and his unlimited strength is the people he feels like he needs to protect. So I feel like that scene encapsulates Superman in such a good way, where even in the darkest moments, he would go to the lengths to think of something small like that, like putting a smile on a little kid's face, even as he's getting beaten to a pulp by probably the hardest enemy he's ever fought. So I hope we see that side of Superman.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good example of
my favorite Superman moment, probably.
That is really cool. You mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy earlier and kind of having that tone. I feel like that does fit. Maybe a little less on the joke side, the one-liners, like the silliness.
Yeah.
But kind of that happy, like, tone that comes along with it, the hopeful tone.
You can have silly characters.
The whole thing is a serious story.
Yeah.
There's real character moments.
Which that's something that Guardians kind of does a good job of. I'm not the biggest fan of Guardians. I like it. It's not my favorite movie, but I do think they do a good job of balancing that. It was Marvel did a better job of balancing the comedy with the stakes when those movies were coming out.
Right.
And I think they do that through all three Guardians movies.
Yeah, I
mean,
agree.
the intensity of like everyone in the theater crying when Rocket's being experimented on in Guardians 3, but then also silly moments like them all making fun of how, what is it when Quill is trying to have like a very intimate one-on-one conversation with Zoe Saldana and they're all listening to it.
Yeah. And then, oh shoot, what was I gonna say? I just lost my thought. Dang it!
You got this. Bring it back. Bring it home.
I'm thinking too hard about it, so now I'm definitely not gonna
sit here.
find it.
We're gonna sit here in silence until you think of it.
Now all I can think about is the silence.
So, which trailer did you like better?
Man of Steel for sure, but I was gonna say that Superman Returns feels like the trailer holds up. You know, especially more than Avengers 2012 that we watched, and this came out 6 years before that. I feel like it fits more.
Yeah. Both of these trailers, though, I think do a really good job of not unveiling the whole movie.
Yes.
You know, I think I don't.
But giving you enough, you know, like we got to see cool moments of iconic Superman moments in both of them.
Yeah.
You know, with Henry Cavill Superman like flying back, hitting the wall, you know,
flying into the sky for his first flight.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to see that the physics are real, the power behind him is strong, and then we got to see these similar feats of strength and coolness in Superman Returns. Obviously, the bullet scene. We got to see the plane crash a little bit. Got to see him fly around Earth. You know, like we saw some cool scenes. Some of the close-up shots of him flying obviously look a little dated, but I feel like the wide shots of him flying looked really good.
Him flying towards the plane as it's careening through the air, actually, I thought looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It looked pretty
Yeah,
good.
I think it holds up really well for being almost 20 years old now.
Yeah. I mean, the close-up of the eye, I think still looks great.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a
you
cool shot.
can't really knock it.
And I love how the camera like rotates in to where you see the front of his face. You can see the Superman curl.
Yeah.
Like that was a cool shot with a cool effect.
They start from the side so you can really see the full effect of the bullet crunching, right? And then wrap around a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
very cool.
Smart.
Definitely. Oh, I know what I was going to say. How do you think it's going to be with Superman coming into this world where there's other superheroes already? Because that's something that's missing from both of these movies, is that there's other superheroes in this city already. They're already established. And it's been told to us that that's going to be the case with James Gunn's Superman.
My potential worry for this movie is that they'll treat Superman in writing the story like some unexperienced Spider-Man Homecoming first-time screw-up superhero, and he doesn't really know how to control his powers. He doesn't really know what to do. I feel like I'm kind of tired of seeing that. Like I don't.
You don't want the origin story of Superman.
I'm okay with the origin, with the development of his powers, but I mean, Superman can move so fast and he's so strong. I really don't want to see him bumbling. Like I feel as though watching Spider-Man Homecoming, I wanted more moments of Spider-Man being cool.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of him failing.
Yeah.
Which I get that. Everyone's going to say, oh, yeah, but they built him up from Far From Home, or he develops the spider sense, and then by No Way Home, he's established. I don't want 3 movies for Superman to get established. I want him to be established.
Yeah.
If you have to do flashbacks like Man of Steel to show him younger, learning his powers, great, but then
Even in Man of Steel, it's almost too much, I feel like.
Yeah, it's too much of
Spend a lot of time with the kid or on the ship.
That was my main complaint probably walking out of the theater originally, was he's not Superman for so much of that movie.
That's why I love the Batman so much.
Because he's just Batman.
He's Batman right away.
Yeah.
You know, like we know how he became Batman. We don't need to necessarily see that part.
But to explain why I was saying that in response to your question, I feel like showing a bunch of other superheroes is possibly a way of the story having more established heroes as he enters the world. Because, you know, if he's newer and he's entering a world full of other superheroes, they'll be kind of talking down to him, showing him the ropes. He'll be kind of the new guy on the block, trying to establish himself, trying to show that he's there for good. And these other people are going to be the veteran heroes. And that's not necessarily the angle I want them to take.
Yeah.
I want Superman to, oh, hey there, Mr. Terrific. Like, we're like, they're partnering up again. Not Mr. Terrific is like taking
This way, Superman.
on a leash. Yeah, like it's Superman.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's the route they go. I mean, them standing side by side looks so cool to me.
Yeah.
That shot from behind the back, it's cool to have other superheroes in the world. I originally felt some pushback in my own mind against the idea, wanting it to be more Superman focused and, they're introducing too many characters. They have Hawkgirl, they have Mr. Terrific now. I mean, there's like 3 other people that are in it. And even that animated movie that I said was good, the recent Superman animated movie with Parasite, they brought Martian Manhunter into that movie, which was really cool, but it also takes some of the focus off of Superman. I just hope it doesn't feel like they're spread too thin trying to develop too many characters.
Yeah.
Like Black Adam kind of had like too many characters where it took time off of Black Adam, but also you didn't get enough of the Justice Society. It's like didn't do justice to that either.
I think it would be cool, to see him like interact with these other superheroes, but we don't necessarily need like a lot of development for these other superheroes.
Just put them in there.
Yeah, they're just another, companion, or not companion, but
like a
just
partner,
like coworker almost, that like just kind of shows up, and it's kind of like almost an Easter egg in a sense, but maybe they have a few minutes of screen time.
I don't need a 5-minute scene where they like divulge their backstory and explain that because their daughter
you don't need
passed
to
away.
explain who everyone is.
I'm
like
okay without it.
Yeah, the people who know, and they'll think it's really cool, and the people who don't know will be like, okay, but it's Superman.
Yeah,
like
it's about
when you're
Superman.
reading comics, in every comic, they don't reintroduce all of the characters. Like all of the DC comics that I've read, none of them have explained who these characters are. I just kind of figured it out as I was going and as they showed up, and I kind of like that in a sense. Like we can do that in a movie, I think.
It's totally okay to do that. I mean, maybe we want a little bit more of backstory for the villain.
Yeah.
And the hero.
Exactly.
That's
exactly. And everyone else is just people that he's interacting with, or creatures, or whatever they are.
And they'll show us instead of tell us what the dynamic is.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, that guy looks like his powers are this. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Let me learn more about him on my own.
Yeah. Good. I think that some of the best moments, obviously, throughout comics and animated and all superhero storylines, is the interactions between great characters.
Yeah.
I love a moment in Injustice where Batman can tell Superman is going to tell him that he has a baby. He's going to have a baby before he even does. There's the interactions between these great characters. They're more than the sum of their parts. Mm-hmm. In that interaction, he says, "Batman, I have to tell you something," and Batman responds with, "Lois is pregnant." Superman says, "How do you know?" And Batman says, "Well, I've seen you face off against Darkseid and not break a single sweat, and you're sweating right now. So I assume that." And it's just like, that's what I want. If you're going to put other characters in, put like moments that highlight the personalities of both the characters overlapping and make those great interactions.
Yeah. I have one last question for you. I want you to estimate what you think is going to happen here. And then we'll sign off for this episode. And that question is, at what minute mark do you think we're going to get Superman in this film?
Honestly, if I had I could potentially put money on the start of the movie.
Opening scene.
Because if you don't open with Superman in the super suit, I feel like that's kind of crazy. Yeah. I know Man of Steel.
You think it'd be like that? We get like a 5-minute scene or something, and then it goes back in time.
Yeah,
and then it takes 30 minutes till we see him again in the suit. Kind of.
That would be my first guess, because maybe we start on a bank robbery, or we start on the close up of the S and it kind of zooms out, and then they show a crime, and then Superman boom lands in. I
kind of just want Superman the whole time. I don't want to go back to when he was a kid necessarily. It's just not interesting. Especially if there's other superheroes and stuff. Let's have more screen time on Superman, on the villain, and all the interactions with these characters.
I mean, how much time did James Gunn spend on Peter Quill's backstory throughout 3 movies?
Yeah,
a very small amount of time.
It was pretty quick. The first one, though, I guess it was kind of that formula, right? In Guardians,
it started with him sneaking in.
We see Peter Quill, and then we see a flashback, right? And then it kind of goes back to the current time in the story.
I don't even know how much flashback there really was, because the opening of the first Guardians isn't that when he's taking the stone, and then
it goes back to Earth. I don't know how far after that, but it goes back to Earth for, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes. and they show like his mom dying and stuff like that, right?
That might,
Or is that the second
that
one?
might be the original opening, actually, because he's like sitting in a hospital and the mom is dying. He goes outside.
Yeah.
He gets abducted by the Ravagers.
So did that happen first?
That might be the opening, and
then it switches.
But that's like 2-3 minutes, and then now we're with Peter Quill or adult Peter Quill. So that's pretty good too.
Let's do something like that.
Yeah,
Have them established.
show him like the iconic moment in Man of Steel when he's like trapped in the closet, can't hear. Show something where he's a kid, where he's discovering, maybe he's flying in the air as a kid, and then cut to him like just saving a bunch of people in some really dangerous situation, falling off a bridge, and Superman's.
I think a
crashing the car.
really cool opening shot is maybe something's happening in the background, like you said, like a robbery or something, or maybe it's just like this open field and it's real calm, real still. The music's really calm. And then boom, he lands right in the middle of the frame facing away from us. So we see the cape kind of fall on top of him. And then he like stands up. Oh, that'd be so sick.
That'd be cool. I think it'd be cool to open on him stopping like a really menial, or like helping in like a really menial small situation, like Mr. Incredible helping the lady get her cat out of the tree.
Yeah.
Some like tender Superman moment. And then maybe he hears a noise in the distance, and then he has to go to something more intense.
What do you guys think? What do you think of the new Superman suit that was revealed for the James Gunn universe? What did you think of these two trailers that we watched? Does Superman Returns hold up? Does Man of Steel hold up? I feel like the editing style kind of did, kind of didn't. I didn't like all the fade to black. It was real quick. But what did you guys think? Does it make you want to watch either of those movies? And how excited are you for this new Superman DC universe?
Make sure that you go onto all of our social media pages. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can help us out on TikTok if you like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Aaron was doing the X because we're also on X, but no, we don't use it. But you can follow us on X. But TikTok or YouTube is the big one I want to hit, because we're currently, as of recording this, 25 subscribers away from 1,000. A huge benchmark from us. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers and grow this community. Make sure that you go on Spotify. You can rate and review the show on there. Give us 5 stars. It helps more listeners find us, because not a lot of people listen to us on Spotify. You can watch on there too, guys. It has the video format. But our big listenership's on YouTube, so make sure you're on there. Make sure you're subscribed to all these pages, because we do post short form content every day. We got shorts and reels and all that good stuff, TikToks.
And we've been talking a lot too. We have plans to vamp up the amount of content that we're putting out too, especially now that we're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. We love doing this. This is the best part of my week. I don't know about you, but I love doing this. And thank you everyone for joining in. If Andrew doesn't like it, that's fine. I'll replace him. All right, I'll find someone else.
Irreplaceable, baby. But thank you so much for tuning in, and
That's a wrap.